Alright, welcome back to another video. This time we're doing something a bit different, but something I kind of alluded to earlier. It's kind of looking back at the season that's just kind of happened with TMC Div 1. So what you're looking at on screen is there was the final standings, I believe, unless something changes. So you could see obviously Casper 1, Matt 2nd, Perpetuum 3rd, and I managed to carry ourselves 8th in the end. So it's been a really good season. Like, I have to say, it's been really fun. And we're going to go through it. We're going to go through it, kind of look at each race, and kind of talk about the different things here and there. And it's just kind of cool to look back on kind of everything that happened in the season, because we started. When did we restart? It was like December or something. It was a long time ago, and now it's mid-May. It has been a long time, but these will kind of fly, but this video is going to be long enough, you could probably already tell. So we'll get into it and see what we can do basically from there. First up was Australia. Australia was an interesting race. Got a decent start. Actually, I didn't get a decent start, but I was this was basically when it was still called TWL, so this season wasn't even the first division when that's how long ago we started. So obviously it's always congested coming into turn one. There's a bit of a kerfuffle ahead. I think there's Kyle, there's Scuba, there's our McLaren. I think there might be Rappy, I'm not sure, but absolute carnage to start. But managed to make a few places up. I wasn't very confident heading into that race because it was, Australia wasn't one of my better tracks. I was still trying to, still pick it up, and look, there's absolutely massive bit of carnage. You picked up a few positions from that. A couple of people kind of took themselves out at turns 11 and 12. That was always fun. So I had an incident with ZR Mercedes. Then my tyres are really dead. I just understeered into him. You can see how much my wheel was turned over. I felt bad for that. I obviously messaged him afterwards, but that left a better taste in my mouth. But we managed to come onto the softs. Good stint. Decent pace. We actually finished in 9th in the end. So not a bad race. Bahrain was a race where kind of nothing was going to go right. Started low down, ended up going backwards very quickly. There goes Perpetuum, Darren Sinclair going to get by on my left as well. So kind of this one was looking very poor for a lot of the time. Just really bad. There we get to 19th there. If Alonso was behind us in 20th, he'd get by me as well. Anyway, it's just about going along. Went onto the sauce. A few guys had little incidents here and there. Kind of helped. Past a couple of people in the pits doing 2 stops. So I'm into 13th here, catching up to some guys in front. So thankfully this kind of did, as slow as the first stint was, it ended up did come back to me, being on the softer tyre for the second stint, and this kind of helped me put a charge on. And I'm going to try and get a move on Kerosene Kev here into turn 4. So yeah, this is an interesting race. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad as it ended up. There goes Scuba, of course, at the last corner there. So ended up finishing 8th in the end. So that was pretty good. If I forget some penalties that were applied after race or something, or were moved, I apologise. But now this race was China was pretty rough. China is probably my I actually don't mind it, but as it's kind of become evident throughout the season through different leagues, it's probably my worst track. It's just not a track that kind of suits my devices and the such. So but look, absolutely congested start. Like, you just try and pick your way through. I started on softs, maybe full starting ultras here, but just trying to pick my way through. It was going okay to the end, but I got backed up here. I had to keep it. I had to get on the brakes early, and I was having a go at kind of Kev and RW TR there, and had to kind of bail on that one. But this is one of my favourite moments of the season right here, was this little bit against, there's RW and there's Takipa heading out of the last corner. They're kind of racing each other, so they've got kind of poor runs. And I'm just going to pick up a beautiful run, slipstream, DRS, overtake, and I'm going to go for the both of them, which is going to be absolutely... This was so satisfying. Down into turn 1, tough break as well. I understeered a bit, kind of a little bit wide on RW, but overall, just felt so good when I did it. I was absolutely hyped for that. That was one of my favourite moments of the season by far. But sadly, wouldn't really last. I was just nowhere after my stop. I don't know what happened. It's just my pace was really poor. Other guys are tired. I'm 17th, and it's lap 12, so. It was a tough one for sure. And kind of unlike most other races, Here's a little battle with Joken. Kind of unlike most other races, I know where I kind of it's poor and I managed to get myself back into the fray. Kind of that never really happened here. I was kind of way too far back of everyone to kind of make anything of it in the end. I actually ended up finishing 13th. So I think that was my worst result of races I actually finished. So that was a tough one. Baku though, I always think is a better place. It's all about staying alive. Staying alive. Starting in P13 though, so just kind of tentative into turn one. Take a nice wide line if possible, because that will always, there'll always be someone going down the inside, and then just take it nice and easy. Leave the space on the entry there as well, just in case people end up going for a dive. So it was a decent start, kind of held position on the soft. So the idea was to go longer into this race than the guys on supers, but I ended up being swamped by a couple of people who are quicker than me anyways on softs, which are Kevin and Kalsper. So kind of they went even before DRS went. Lap 16 though, kind of the big thing with this race was that kind of everyone kind of pitted, kind of people on supers and such pitted, and they all had accidents behind me. So by the time I came in for my stop and back out again, I was in 6th place. That's how much carnage there was in this race behind me. So while I was going along on my tyres, everyone else was tripping over each other behind. So that was big. I got close to Matt and Jeff in the end. I think if I had one more lap I would have had them. Their degradation was really, really bad because there was a safety car, I believe, early on that decided not to go out. I should actually probably mention that, to be fair. But this is actually one of my better qualifying laps of the year. I ended up qualified 7th here in Spain, which is a little unexpected. I do like Spain as a track to drive. It is kind of satisfying when you get the hooked up. I got a nice lap hooked up here as well. Well, by my standards at this stage of the season. So starting P7, which kind of is a recipe for disaster, kind of to only fall backwards. Our start was initially quite good. See, Darren's looking like getting a lot of wheel spin, so I was really happy with his start. There goes Perpetuum straight away. I think he's in AI mode, so there's a position being gained here straight away. Possibly a second one here, and Darren going to try and hang around the outside of turn 1. He's going to have the better run through turn 3, then leave the space down the inside, and kind of had to leave the space for him, which means that kind of Joken could kind of slip through, but he got a good run anyways to Joken, and I'm kind of in a bad spot here, so I had to be careful of that. You see the Toro Rosso on my right hand side, a little bit of contact, but that's fine. I tried to leave it a bit later down the inside here. Did I? No, actually went early. Probably could have gone a bit later, to be fair, but it settled into where I started basically, which was P7. Mediums on. Here's a move on Finishy for a position to points. That was nice, but kind of the weather kind of ended up playing a factor in this race. And you can see lap 32 and 33, the rain's kind of come into difficult conditions. Got Scuba on my inside. He goes down the inside, and there's contact front to rear. That pushes me wide, and I get a penalty for it. I ended up getting that removed in the end. No, I wasn't happy at the time when this happened, because Kyle was on softer tyres behind and he was putting pressure on, and I kind of felt that kind of, that bit of contact pushed me back into him, and then this could have ended up in all sorts of different ways. He goes down the inside, made contact there as well, so I wasn't too happy about that either, but ended up finishing P7 in the end on track with no pens, but I felt a little bit hard done by that race, I have to be honest. But look, the next one was always a good one. Monaco is a track I quite enjoy. Obviously, what I'm having being on the wheel kind of it helps with that. I messed up here in qualifying. I had just set my fastest lap. I was going for another one, and I ended up binning it through Casino Square. So that kind of that didn't actually matter in the end, but kind of one of the few mistakes I actually make in qualifying. But anyways, another one of my absolutely favourite moments here. Starting P12 on the Ultra Softs. Going to get a good start. Kalsper immediately cuts off Scuba. That's going to give you a nice little run here. There's a great bit of track to the outside and just leaping past so many cars. This was an absolutely mega start. I don't know how important this was to the race in the end. I wish I had got by Hero Joken, but because he was on hypers and he took these a long way, and I was being absolutely murdered being stuck behind him. I wish I could have got away, because I'm not sure how much time I would have made up in this race had I got by this that Toro Rosso. Anyways, you come out of the pit, so we're behind Kalsper on the Ultras. So we're in P9. I think there are some people who've got to make stops again, and it's Monaco, so another incident's waiting to happen. Here's one of them. RWRTR kind of gets a moment out of the Portier. That's a move done there. Overtaking is not the easiest thing at Monaco, but get one done there. And Kalsper I knew was on old tyres, so I felt like I was dying to get by him. absolutely dying. He had some good runs through the tunnel. F1 Alonso's right behind me as well, so I had to keep that in mind as well. But not a ton of opportunities opened up against Calsper, and I wasn't going to just force something that wasn't there. So, but here we go. Here's probably my best chance. Lap 35. 39. End up actually, there's a little bit of desync there, which I felt bad for afterwards. But I had to. Not that I had to get that move done. I felt I could have got that move done. It's just the desync was unfortunate. Anyways, got up to P5 in the end. Alonso was pushing me hard come the end of that race, very, very hard. Rappi ended up getting. Murphy was 10 seconds ahead. He started on hypers as well. Had I cleared Joken, I think I could have been much closer to Rappi. But there's the results in the end. Just a minor amount because he only had one penalty. I hadn't done there, but really happy with that. Well, it's one of my best moments of the season by far. I think this is the first official race with it being Div 1 in Canada, but we get off. Okay, start from 8th on supers, not bad to be fair. I remember the turnout here was quite poor, if I remember correctly, but a bit of a moment there for Combi, having a wiggle. Thought about a move going into turns 3 and 4. He left me the space to be fair, and he's going to actually end up having a moment of his own. I don't know if that was decent. My front tire was nowhere near his rear, but anyways, he goes wide anyways, and this race will not last very long because lap 11, heading up to the chicane here. Matt bumps me from behind, and that sends me into the wall. That was my first TMC retirement in like 50 odd races, so that was a tough one to take because a lot of points were for grabs that race, with the wet conditions coming later and like so many people having a lot of penalties. But things wouldn't get better really after that because next round Joken didn't move off the line, his car didn't ghost, and that is race over pretty much immediately from this race because I have to come in and make that change. I'm on the softest compound tire, or the hardest compound tire with the softs. So end of the lap, I'm nowhere anyways. I'm going to be further nowhere. But just kept pushing to the end. The rain eventually came, which didn't do anything for me either. I needed a safety car, but just kept going because maybe something might happen. Something did end up happening with Perpetuum and Matt. Took out Matt last lap, and that allowed me to come home to take 1 point with a very, very worn rear set of intermediates there. So that was a kind of a good example of to never give up because you might just get something out of it. Austria was next. Good start here on Perpetuum. But I'm going to be boxed in here by Dobby, so I had to kind of back off a bit. That's going to allow Perpetuum a nice little run around the outside of turn 1, goes a bit wide. But heading up the hill here is always an interesting kind of climb. It's just as you pick up the slipstream, no DRS of course yet, but I was dangerous right there. That gave me a heart attack right there from Perpetuum. But tried to slither up down the inside, ended up nothing coming of it in the end. This race was really boring. All I ended up doing was going long. Pit stop didn't really happen. Not much really happened. I kind of switched places with Sway, kind of ended up getting them back in the end. Going long, softs, finish 8th in the end. So kind of nothing really happened in that race. Silverstone though, a bit more happened. Absolutely atrocious conditions. You can see how little you can actually see. God, decent start. I know Kevin's on my left hand side, but he gets through, so that's okay. They're on the wheels behind me as well. There goes a car wide. It's Haas, it's Kerosene Kev. So, but just trying to slither your way through this track in the wet. It was like, it's probably going to suit me very much, but I kind of ended up falling back. But I had a good moment here, though. Lap 6, you can see kind of the pack is kind of broken away down the inside of Kyle through Cops. It took a lot of bravery, and I really had to admit I made him think about that one. So that was a nice move. Really enjoyed that one at the time. Perpetuum here is going to try and come by. Almost absolutely destroys me. I wasn't too happy about that either. Yeah, I was a little bit on edge after that, but kind of not a lot happened. Kind of we came in from the set of wets, not too long. Well, basically a half distance. I actually didn't go further than the half distance because I wanted to see if the intermediates were the tire to be on. Never happened in the end. I'm basically last on track. People who finish, I'm a long way back, but we got to the end. We got 8th in the end, so that's 4 free points right there. Germany starts 6th on the grid. A couple of people start on mediums but outside, so I was like, I'm going to be kind of falling back on no because there are people who are on tyres that are quicker than mine. Come the second part of the race, but I got a decent start, had technique there, held on to that position, kind of squabbled with technique for a bit. He had a bit of a moment here. I was hoping, please go into the pits, and that was risky as well. That was a tough one. That's going to put me into the clutches of Dobby. I think Dobby's going to get by, but yeah, technique was tough with this one. Kind of a few questionable moments, but I tried to get him back here. Lap 10. DRS is so powerful around here. Stick to the outside. As he goes defensive, leaving the space. And up we go then. There you go. That's position back. That's P7, but there are people behind. A lot of people kind of behind and squabbling. So lap 34, kind of. Yeah, I mean, technique got away in the end. I'm desperate. Jokin was catching these last few laps. I was desperately trying to defend from him. I think he had a penalty, but almost lost it there. But yeah, I think he had a pen as Calsper won that race from the back of the grid. So, but I was happy to get this because honestly, those last 2 laps were very uncomfortable with Jokin. So he put me under pressure. I think he had fresher mediums, but he was just quicker. So around the final corner, thankfully we're going to hold on for another P8, or was it a P7? Did we get technique on pens? I can't remember. Yes, we did. Okay, that was the thing. Intermediate conditions here at Hungary. Start P10. Slow start off the line. Slow starts. My teammate's going to get a better start. I started the season with Lyonix as a teammate. Then Sway came on, I think, from was it Austria onwards? I think it might have been Austria or Canada. I think it might have been Austria. So, anyways, he's going to get ahead. Pull up alongside though. Going to try to get this back. You can see very difficult to see. Go down the inside. I have a Calcer, which is important. Just kind of tiptoeing, and let Sway have this one. Then he ends up having an accident, I think, later this lap at the chicane. So end of that lap though, I see Kyle and Matt squabbling, and again in the wet against Kyle, and again nice move. This is a big move down the inside into the last corner. It kind of opened up really nicely. I was like, yeah, I've got to do this. So got that done. Just try to out-drag him going down the straight. I did manage to hold on to this one, I believe. So yeah, that was a bit important to be ahead of both Williams. And then this first stint then was all about keeping Calsper behind. I kept Calsper behind for a long time. Cleanly, it was good. Really enjoyed it. He messaged me afterwards, I think a day or two after, saying really nice battle. But just yeah, Hungary is tough to overtake around, so you really need track position. That was a stupid warning right there. That was really silly. But anyways, I pitched. Calsper overcut me, so he kind of went into the distance. But he did get P7 in the end, so that was a good result despite everything. Despite everything, it was a good race. Kind of whatever happened. Spa now was a bit different, a bit trickier. This one, I almost get chopped by Weiberg there coming off the grid. So. But Belgium, I started on the mediums. The rain I knew was coming. I wanted to try and hang this out as long as humanly possible. That was my plan heading up now towards Eau Rouge and Radley. I'm not under threat from anyone, not going to be attacking anyone, so it's kind of going to be... actually, I am under threat because Weiberg's going to try to get by me. This was a race-long duel with Weiberg for a lot of it. He's going to get me here. We will go back and forth. I don't think I show all of it. We definitely go back and forth a lot in this race to do me and Weiberg, so... He was on softs, I was on mediums, so naturally that little dynamic was there. So a nice little switch back there. I kind of got a really good run on that corner, down the inside, then into Bruxelles. Try and hang it down the inside to clear him in time, leave him a space at the no-name corner. Yes, cleared him. So nice move there. This is one of my other good moments of the season. Weiberg RW having a scrap here, but out of nowhere there's a spun Toro Rosso of a Hero Joke. I didn't see till the last minute. And that was some really quick reactions to avoid that when I saw it. So that was a position gain right there. Here, lap 6, attacking the Weiberg. Then the soft runners are getting closer. Their piss offs is kind of lap 7 or 8 or so. You want to be pitting. I'm going to try go around the outside here at the bus stop chicane. Outside becomes the inside. Basic racing principles, that kind of racing rules there. Job done. So. The condition, so I'm on the older mediums. He's kind of dying. These guys are on mediums. Freshman is behind me. Go up on that outside curve at Bruxelles. Almost absolutely killed me. I think the rain is actually falling. That I see it, but anyways, there goes both Mercedes, and I just kind of ended up being eaten at this point by each kind of everyone who had pitted, and I'm just stuck here on lap 15 on mediums. I'm just desperate for this rain to come. And it just was a bit too long in this race. I would have been better off pitching on whatever lap for softs at that rate. I really would have been. It was a tough all struggle. I did get them to 19 in the end. Very, very tough, but thankfully still in the points playing position because of it. Kind of, I could look in one sense I should have done differently, but at that stage I had to commit to it. So the fact that I committed to it did help. And then Darren's going to have him off then behind me at some point as well. Weiberg did as well. So I ended up finishing P7 in the end, which is actually, I was frustrated after that race, but actually P7 ended up being a pretty good result, all things considered. Next round in Italy, got a good start on Dobby. Outside the top 10, obviously. I swear I've said most of the season, to be honest, in qualifying, but just so careful into turn one. I'll be so careful. I was way early off the throttle than I needed to be, but it's all about getting through safely and soundly. I was confident this one because I was using the softs. I was going to go on to supers. Lap 2, there's a nice look at this gang here. There's Scuba, there's Dobby, there's Technique. Just had to try and take it easy. Weiberg's behind me as well. Make a little front to rear contact there with a Technique that didn't help. And then lap 9, I was actually checking this slowly through Ascari, and then just this curve here, I'm not sure what happened, but it sent me off, and then there you go, then that is a race over. That was an interesting one, but I just have a dislike for Italy, so you know what, I wasn't too upset at retiring, but difficult one for sure. Russia then, awful start for Dobby. This race is broken. The strategy here makes no sense. When you're starting on the harder compound, when you go onto the soft one for the second stint, usually the time comes back to you. You kind of make up that time back, and it works out almost similar to a one versus the soft to harder compound. This one, it didn't. It made no sense. But before all that, I took a touch from behind from Perpetuum. That sent me almost into the back of Scuba. I managed to avoid that, but lost a lot of positions in the process, and that kind of put me on the back foot for a lot of this race. But honestly, I picked for the hypers. Never made up that time in the end. The strategy makes no sense. We finished 9th anyway, thanks to having no penalties, I believe. Singapore, now this race was a humdinger. The rain was coming, so that's why I underfueled on the car as well. I just wanted to take care of the tyres on the Ultras. So this is actually one of my more preferred tracks to drive. And we can see you make up positions here already. Calsper there, he's on my. I've got by him, but he's going to be. No, I've got to brake here because Technique and Scuba are ahead, so that allows Calsper to dive through, then take that position back. I did make contact with him, but I almost ended up actually breaking my wing. Lap 5 though, Technique on the hypers, his tyres are dying, going to go down the inside on the ultra softs. Boom, there's a position right there. That's P6 already, so they're already looking for a nice little result here. Intermediates, I was held for an absolute eternity here when the rain came. Lap 7, so that was tough. I emerged ahead of Matt there. I lost a lot of time under that, but we're in a really good position still. I think Dobby retired after not too long into this race, so we're in P4, P5 now because Technique has gone by. He actually pitted earlier on the inters, actually ended up working out for him, and then I thought Alonso was going to sneak around then as well and move into P5 then, so I actually ended up being in P6 then. But later that lap, F1 Alonso has one of the most spectacular crashes of the season in the middle sector, just before the end of sector, or just after sector 2 actually. Ended up going back then to dries, and this was where the big call came. Some people put on softs. I decided to risk it with ultras, and I thought that was a calculated risk. I'd seen Dark Bolt do 18 laps on ultras in the second division, and I was like, yeah, that's doable. I can do 14 on the ultras. Pace may fall away, but the pace will gain to start. Well, it definitely helps. So there goes Darren Sinclair in second then, and just careful on exit because it's still kind of wet, and then Calsper then goes around into third, but he is on softs. So this was a great opportunity then to kind of make this like, this is my chance for a podium. I'm going to get him. I wanted this move so badly. There may have been a little bit of desync there, but alas, it happens. So anyways, into P3 then. I did hunt Darren down for a bit, but he picked up the pace on the soft. His pace was absolutely electric, and then Scuba won in the end, and I ended up finishing third. That's the podium. That was the best result of the season by far. Like that, well, not by far. Monaco was great as well, but just to get a podium in Div 1 was absolutely incredible. But no time to rest because Japan is next, and Japan's one of my favourite tracks. But sadly, I didn't really get to do much on it. Start on mediums. I was hoping maybe that I could go long into this one. If the rain was to come, I think got exploded by Perpetuum then into 130R. That actually damaged my wing as it turned out. So that kind of screwed me over. We come into the pits for the intermediates. They didn't change my wing, which was great because I asked them to. You can see there was on yes, there's a damage, so they didn't change my wing. That was like, well, great, this race is basically over. So anyways, we got to the end, P8 in the end, points, but sadly, or 9th in the end, but sadly didn't really work out. another race that didn't really work out, one of my favourites as well, USA. Kind of went wrong very, very quickly. Late breaking into one, that's fine. There's a car on my right hand side, Matt made contact with me then. I am using no TC at this point. I think this is my first race in TMC with no TC. So anyways, Kev, Euthanasty and Sway kind of cross lines. That scrubbed out a lot of speed for them, and then I ended up hitting them into the wing, hitting my wing off them. So that's my first. I think that was my only kind of lap one kind of damage incident that I kind of was my fault. Anyways, though, we pitted lap one. This race was absolutely nothing. Yeah, there you go. Just nothing in that race happened in the end, sadly. So next up was Mexico, getting close now to kind of more recently now, the end of the season. Not the best start. Again, I'm using no TC, so it's kind of a little, I am a bit tentative at this point, always off the start. So anyways, into turn one then, nice braking late. I had to swerve out a bit. Look at Bolt absolutely scrambling, absolutely going through. So, yeah, more contact on the exit there, just trying to keep pace. I'm on ultras. Lap 12, kind of, pace wasn't really there this race. My teammate gets by. This is going to be absolute. I just wanted everyone to go by me at this stage, like just fall into the crowd. There goes Dobby, there goes Calsper. So me and Sway go back and forth, but he ended up getting wing damage off the back of me in the end. So that kind of took it from there, and we finished in P8 in the end. Not too bad, but the pace was definitely a long way off what it needed to be. Brazil, second to last race of the season, starting from P11. A couple of reserves in this time around. Didn't get the best start, lost position to Weiberg immediately. Matt's down my inside as well. Initially found a good run around the outside, but with three cars there, Weiberg, myself and Kev kind of lost out there, and then Matt's going to pip through then into P12, so I lost positions from that. Yarham's behind me, so I had to be careful of that. But kind of the big train at the start was absolutely insane. These first few laps, there was a bottleneck back here. Eventually ended up being filtered out. I'm trying to defend against Calsper here, leaving the space through turn 2, a little bit of contact, but that's all clean. And then I can't pull him into the clutches of Lewis. Then see there, Lewis puts Calsper into the wall, and there you go. There's that outside threat dealt with. Yeah, I went really long in this race, lap 20 onto the softs, then went to mediums to the end. So yeah, picked up a couple of guys had incidents. I picked up a few points from that, and there you go. I think it was P7 or 8 in the end. But finally, then the season's end, Abu Dhabi, aggressive hypersoft strategy for this last race because I wanted to. So lost a position to Alonso at the start, so that was tough. But I have Weiberg behind me. Just kind of getting these tyres to survive was the big part of this first stint. Getting the tyres to survive to lap 8 or so. A little bit of squabbling up here with Sway, kind of holding guys up a little bit. He was really struggling this first stint, but Wesker then got by me on his ultras. I decided I'd try and fight this back as far as I could. Pull over to the right hand side, late on the brakes, leaving the space on the inside. Hopefully leaving space here because I can only stick there. Again, leaving the space. You kind of approximate what a car's length basically, or car's width basically is on the outside. I'm going to have better traction. I'm going to have overtake. I'm going to have actually no, I didn't put him to richer overtake, but as Wesker get by me the next lap, I ended up pitching on this ultra stint. It began the first of my few little duels with Jokin. Initially I got by him, but he would end up kind of replying because this corner was tough. I got a little bit too much on the outside curve there, so I was allowed Jokin. Actually no, not this time. Actually Jokin actually had a little moment there. Another part of that stint where he did pin for the hypers lap 20, go by Jokin again. I probably cut across a little bit too soon there. I didn't mean to do that. But kind of making my way through the field now against the guys who have kind of done the one stop by Wesker there into P10. So just hunting these guys down then, and then eventually finished P8 in the end in that race, and then obviously that was P7 after because 10 cat was a reserve. So overall, just a really entertaining season. There's a couple of ups and downs. The ups include like Monaco, Singapore, Baku was a good one as well. A lot of consistent P7s, that was a big one as well, just picking up those consistent points. I'm not sure if I ever finished 6th in this season, but just being consistent was the big thing. I've picked up the pieces where others fell short, just sticking with it, making sure I had the right strategy, which I had most of the time. A couple of times it got away from me, like I did in Belgium and such and all that. The lows were tough. Canada was being taken out in Canada was pretty tough. Italy wasn't too upset by. because I kind of wasn't confident around there. Anyways, Japan, USA were definitely disappointments for sure. Uh, those were ones I kind of that left a tough one in my mouth. Spain left a tough taste in my mouth as well. I thought that was a good result could have been on there as well. Well, a good result. I got a good result in the end, but it could have been a bit better. What other races left a tough one? China was difficult, but I should have expected it as much. So overall, just really, really happy with the season. It's been great. I mean, it was a big, coming up to TWL at the beginning of this game was a big challenge, a big step. Some people didn't think I'd actually fare very well. I actually ended up faring pretty good in the end, really well actually. And then obviously when that became Div 1, obviously look, a few drivers changed here and there. A lot of the division was the same, but I thought I held my own quite well there at times. There are times where I just kind of got washed away, kind of into like the P8s and P9s, and that's fine. That's what I was expecting. I'm just there to pick up the points, just do as well as I can, and just represent myself well. Just try and react in the right ways as such when it comes to kind of temperament, and when times got tested in races, just trying to kind of stick with it. A lot of help this season, which is great. Where people from advising, who kind of were watching the stream while we were racing, or kind of chatting to people in the race as well. It was great to have that. Definitely helped. I kind of do my own strategies and such, but really helpful to kind of have an ear, just in case, just to bounce ideas off and bounce kind of thoughts out. We all did that. We all did that for one stage during the season. So 21 races come and gone. I ended up finishing P8 in the standings in the end. So really happy with that. Really happy. It's been a great season. There's a lot to be I can look back on with a lot of pride with the season I've had, and just I held myself very well. High standard. There are ups and downs and peaks and valleys, and that's just a 21 race season at the end of the day. So to finish where I finished, a couple of races in there were really stand out. I was really happy with that. But so, anyways, that's going to be it for TMC Div 1 Season 6, I believe. Been a great race. Thanks for watching. Great race, great season. Thanks for watching, and until next time.